Today, we're diving into a story that is just unbelievable. It's the story of Stacy Hunsucker, a 32-year-old mom whose sudden death was written off as a simple heart attack. But behind what looked like a tragedy was this chilling, calculated plot, one that was almost the perfect crime. To anyone on the outside looking in, Stacy and Joshua Hunsucker were living the dream. They were high school sweethearts living in North Carolina with their two little girls, Piper and Willow. Friends said they were just this happy, picture-perfect family. But as you can probably guess, what was happening behind closed doors was a whole different story, a much, much darker one. And this is the key to this entire case: Tetrahydrozoline. It's in pretty much any eye drops you can buy at a pharmacy. A simple, totally common household item that in the wrong hands becomes this silent, almost undetectable weapon. This one chemical is what turned what everyone thought was a natural death into a full-blown murder investigation. So let's start where everyone else did, with what seemed like a horrible but understandable tragedy. A young mother who'd been struggling with her health for years finally loses her battle. The local police saw her medical history, they saw the circumstances, and they treated it as a natural death. Case closed. But really, the story was only just beginning. So on one hand, you've got this perfect family image, the one they put out to the world. But on the other, the private reality was just filled with hardship. We're talking years of these mysterious medical problems that no doctor could figure out, a house fire that destroyed literally everything they owned, and of course, the crushing weight of all those medical bills. This timeline is just baffling, right? Starting in 2013, Stacy's health just goes into a complete freefall. She's in the hospital with a dangerously low heart rate. She goes into full cardiac arrest, and at just 29 years old, she needs a pacemaker. 29. And the doctors, they were totally stumped. They described it like her body was being attacked by some kind of invisible enemy. And then, what felt almost inevitable happened. After 5 long years of documented heart problems, Stacy is found unresponsive by her husband, Joshua. Given her medical history, a heart attack seemed like the obvious, tragic, and honestly unquestioned cause of death. Or so it seemed. Okay, this is where the whole story just flips on its head. The grieving husband, Joshua, started acting in ways that just didn't add up. And these little inconsistencies, they were the first threads to get pulled in a story that was about to completely unravel. Think about it. If you find a loved one dead, your story about that moment shouldn't change, right? But Joshua's did, over and over. He told police he was locking the cars, he told a friend he was on a walk, he told another he was out back cutting wood, and he told his mother-in-law he was on his laptop. 4 different stories for the exact same moment. Come on. That is a massive, massive red flag. 2 days. In what should have been a time of just overwhelming grief, Joshua had Stacy's body cremated. This was incredibly fast, suspiciously fast, and it accomplished one very convenient thing. It destroyed any physical evidence of what might have really killed her. And in that exact same 2-day window, we're talking before a funeral was even arranged, Joshua was already filing claims on Stacy's life insurance policies. The total? $250,000. The speed of both the cremation and that insurance claim was, to put it mildly, just wildly suspicious. And get this, Joshua's colleagues, even his babysitter, noticed he never really seemed sad. Instead, he moved on fast. A new girlfriend, Jennifer, moved into the house and into the bed that he had shared with Stacy. And it later came out that their affair had actually started while Stacy was still alive. So while pretty much everyone else was accepting this story of a tragic, natural death, there was one person who couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply, deeply wrong. And her intuition, well, it was the catalyst for everything that happened next. This is Stacy's mom, Susie Robinson, and she saw all of it. The affair, the rushed cremation, the insurance money, the complete lack of grieving. A mother's gut feeling told her that her son-in-law was not a grieving widower. He was a killer. So she did something about it. 9 months after Stacy died, Susie did the only thing she could think of. She reported Joshua for insurance fraud, telling them she suspected he'd killed her daughter for the payout. And that one simple act, by one determined mother, is what officially launched the murder investigation. Okay, this is where the case takes an absolutely incredible turn. With Stacy's body cremated, investigators had a huge problem. But Joshua, in his rush to cover his tracks, overlooked one tiny, crucial detail that would be his complete undoing. I mean, this was the central challenge, right? The main piece of evidence was gone forever, and the official cause of death backed up Joshua's story. It really looked like he had committed the perfect crime. So how could investigators possibly prove otherwise? Well, here's how. Because Stacy was a registered organ donor, a routine blood sample had been drawn and saved before her cremation. It was just a standard procedure, a total stroke of luck that gave investigators the one piece of physical evidence that Joshua thought he had completely destroyed. And the results from that blood vial? They were staggering. The standard tests all came back clean, but when they did a deeper analysis, they found astronomical levels of tetrahydrozoline, that active ingredient in eye drops. We're not talking a small amount here. We're talking 30 to 40 times the therapeutic level. This wasn't an accident. This was proof of poisoning. And suddenly, everything just clicked into place. As a flight paramedic, Joshua knew this poison would mimic the symptoms of a heart attack. He knew it wouldn't show up in a standard talk screen. And the most chilling part? Just before Stacy's death, he had casually told two coworkers that if he ever killed someone, he'd use eye drops. He basically told on himself. So, Joshua was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, but the story is far from over. He posted a $1.5 million bond, and his release turned out to be a catastrophic decision because his actions became even more dangerous and completely unhinged. Just look at this timeline of absolute terror. Even before he was arrested for murder, he allegedly set fire to a medical helicopter in midair. Then, while he's out on bond, he fakes his own kidnapping to try and frame Stacy's dad. And then, in a truly monstrous act, prosecutors say he poisoned his own daughter with eye drops, likely to further frame the grandparents. It's just evil. And as a result, this is where he stands today. He's awaiting trial not just for murder and insurance fraud, but now also for arson, witness intimidation, and child abuse. His bond was thankfully finally revoked, and he remains in custody. You know, this quote from the insurance commissioner really sums it all up. The path to justice in this case was so unlikely. It wasn't some CSI-style discovery at a crime scene. It all started because a mom filed a fraud claim, and that one act exposed a horrifying hidden truth. And it really leaves us with this final thought. Without that one lucky blood vial, and more importantly, without a mother who refused to accept the official story, Joshua Hunsucker might have actually gotten away with it. It's a chilling reminder of how close he came and the incredible power of one person's instinct to bring the truth to light.